guys, it's Michelle, Day with TN. Came home today early from work so I could get a little canning done. I needed a break from the work stuff, and we pulled up all our tomatoes last Sunday, tomato plants, and I had a bunch of green tomatoes on them and I wanted to do something with them. So I started looking through the canning cookbooks, and this is the first one I pulled out, and it had a Salsa Verde in there, which calls for green tomatoes. Well, it calls you to chop, peel, and core. I don't feel like peeling them. So that, and I was a little surprised it didn't have any vinegar in it. It has lime juice, half a cup of lime juice in there, but I'm thinking it really probably ought to have some vinegar, you know, a little something extra. Maybe not, what do I know? But, so I thought, okay, let's keep looking. So then I pulled out this canning cookbook. And on page 166, it had Eric's green tomato salsa. Well, it called for 13.5 cups of finely chopped green tomatoes. Didn't call for you to peel them, so that's yay, plus there. Had the red onions. It called for more than I had, though. I didn't have quite enough to probably get 13.5 cups out of. The ball canning one called for 7 cups. I knew I could get that. This one has some red wine vinegar in it, so I thought, okay, guess we'll do a little rebel canning and combine the two recipes. Well, thankfully, yesterday in the mail, my new canning cookbook came, and they have a salsa recipe on page 225, if you happen to have this one, tomatillo salsa. But I had read in one of these other ones that if you didn't have green tomatoes, you could use the tomatillas in place of green tomatoes, so I figured this would work just as well. Switch this to green tomatoes. This has already got the combined vinegar and lime juice in it, so that's why I decided to I'm just going to kind of combine all 3 recipes and I guess be a little bit of a rebel today. So I've written down everything I've prepped up so I can put the recipe below, and we're going to start getting ready. I've got my jars in washing, and we'll bring you along. So let me get the camera turned around. Okay, what I've got out here on the counter right now, right here below us, I've got some chopped up cilantro. I just bought a package of fresh cilantro at the Walmart in the produce section, the organic stuff. It was like a 5-ounce package. One recipe called for an entire cup of chopped cilantro, which I think was way too much. And another one called for half a cup, and another one didn't call for any. So this is what we're going to go with, a 5-ounce package chopped up. Let me move that out of the way. Okay, in here, this is 8 cups of the chopped green tomatoes. And to get this out of my way right quick, I'm going to go ahead and dump that in here. Everybody out. There we go. Alright, so that's what that looks like. Okay, so that's 8 cups of chopped green tomatoes. In this measuring cup, I have got about 2.5 to 3 cups of chopped red onion. Yeah, almost 3 cups. So that's going in as well. And I can see right now I need a spatula. Get all the good stuff out of here. Alrighty. Oh, that's about brought me to tears today, chopping them up. Okay. On the plate here, I have got about probably 8 cloves of garlic. One recipe called for, how many? 2 cloves. One called for a whole head. And another one called for 4 cloves. So I kind of figure 8 ought to do it. So some of these were kind of small anyway. So in they go into the pot. Alright, now, don't want to come off there. Alright, my peppers. I've got a mixture of sweet and hot peppers in here. I've got about, I don't know how many of the sweet. It's about half a cup of the red on the bottom. And these were my homegrown giant Marconi peppers because I didn't have any more bell peppers. So I figured it just needed a sweet pepper. You can use banana peppers, you can use bell peppers, you can use the Marconis, just, you know, whatever. The rest of it, I used about 8 to, let's see, yeah, I went with 8 hot peppers. I used a mixture of jalapenos. I threw one little cayenne in there, and the rest of them were some of my mystery peppers because we thought they were supposed to be cayennes and they came up something else. I started them from seed, so who knows, but here we go. That's going in as well. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to put my recipe down here in the bottom since I'm combining stuff and kind of making up my own here. I'm not going to get in trouble with anybody. Okay, we're going to go ahead and dump our cilantro in as well. Everybody in the pool. Okay, we'll work on that some more in a minute. Alright, give that a bit of a stir. Put it on the heat and kind of mix things up. And here I have got 2 limes that I've juiced. So we're going to go ahead and dump that in as well. Pulp and all, I just got the seeds out of it. Okay. Now I am going to add, if I can get it open, there we go. One recipe called for, I think it was a cup, no, 3/4 of a cup, and the other one called for a cup and a half. So we're gonna go with, that's about half a cup. Let's a little bit more, 3/4 of a cup. That ought to do. Actually, no, I'm not gonna quite put all that in there. Half cup. Stop with that and we'll see how it tastes. If I can stand the taste of it. Okay. Alright, so I've got what did I do here? A teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. Can't see that because my hand's in the way. There you go. Just already got it combined. We're just going to sprinkle that through there. If you want to add anywhere from a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of cumin in here. Personally, I detest cumin. I don't like the smell of it. So I'm kind of debating whether to put any in here or not. The last salsa I made, I went ahead and added it because the recipe called for it. I didn't care for it at all. So anyway, you don't be afraid. If you don't like certain seasonings that one of your canning recipes calls for, don't put it in there. It's just a seasoning. As long as you get the proportions of your vegetables or whatever you're doing correct, you should be fine. So let's get this over on the stove and get it to cooking. Alright, we've got this, it's starting to simmer a little bit here. I want to get it up to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, because this is still kind of chunky, as you can see, it's already starting to soften up some, but I've got some larger chunks in here, like that piece of tomato that the food processor didn't cut up real well. I want those to get softened. So once it comes to a good boil, we're going to turn the heat down on it. Right now it's on a medium. Well, I've got it set about 8 on my stove top. I'm going to turn it down and I'm going to let it simmer, stirring it frequently, and I want it to reduce, the liquid to reduce a little bit and thicken up. So one of the recipes wanted you to do this for an hour and a half. I don't think so. Another one was like 10 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, we'll just kind of see where we are. And I'll bring you back when we are to that point and about ready to jar them up. Okay, it's been about 15-20 minutes and I think this looks like a good consistency here. You want, still want some liquid in it, but that looks pretty good to me. So we're gonna get this ready to jar it up. My jars are done sanitizing in the dishwasher, so let's get the camera moved around and start ladling in. Alright, got me a hot jar out of the dishwasher. We're gonna do most of this in pints. I've got a couple of half pints for just in case I need them. This probably ought to give us 3 or 4 pints. We'll see how far we get. Already dripping. We're wanting a 1/2 inch headspace on this. This is really pretty colors in here. Liking this. Let's see. Debubble, always debubble. Even though this is pretty liquidy, we're gonna That's probably not 1/2 inch yet. Can't see where my 1/2 inch is. Let's see. Almost, but not quite. Let's put a little bit more in there. Had a little taste of this, and yeah, it had me running for the crackers. Okay, close enough on 1/2 inch. Wipe our rim very carefully. I've got this paper towel dipped in vinegar, or dipped it in some hot water. I've got some lids over here soaking in, not boiling, but very hot water. Yeah. Okay. Lid. Ring. Towel to hold the jar so finger tight. And that looks pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Like I said, I'm not a salsa eater, but I at least did try it. Let's hold you up there so you can see. I think that looks nice with the red Marconi pepper in there, giving it just a little bit of color and pop. Let's see, there we go. Alright, I'm going to go put this in the canner and finish jarring up the rest of them, and we'll bring you back when we have them in the canner ready to get that going. Decided to bring you back for a side shot here of this. If I can try to keep my hands out of the way and keep from dripping all over the place. As we ladle this into a jar. I know sometimes it helps to see it from a different angle. At least it does for me, and I don't have the best lighting in the world in this kitchen. If I were going to do this professionally, I might invest in some lighting, but this is just for fun for me, and I got way too much in there. I'm going to have to take some of that out. Oh, definitely so. Get a spoon. And that's way more than 1/2 inch headspace. Okay. That looks better. Debubble real well. Okay. That's close enough to 1/2 inch. I don't know if you can see that there or not, but I'll try it from different ways. But that's really close. And yeah, I keep holding the jar without a towel, and it's hot. Wipe that rim really well so you don't prevent your lid from sealing. Stand there, finger tight. And we are ready for the canner. Doesn't that look nice? I mean, I think that looks really pretty. I think these will make really good Christmas presents this year. I've already got several people who have asked for some. Alright, we'll be back when we're done and have all this in the canner. Okay, we ended up with 5 pints. I've got them in the canner. I had the water heating out here already, but I did not have it boiling. Part of the process of canning, it's factored in that you should bring the water up to a boil, not already have it boiling when you put the jars in there. So we're going to bring it up to a rolling boil, and these will process for 20 minutes. You want to make sure that you have all your jars completely immersed in water. I like to at least have 1 inch of water over mine, but they have the lids need to be underwater. For those of you who are new, I know there's a lot of you who are old hats at this that watch me, but in case somebody's coming along looking for a video on how to do this, and you're new to canning, yes, they must be covered in water. Yes, you do need a rack. At least this is the way I do it. I know other people, you know, say they can do it without a canning rack in there to keep the jars off the bottom of the canner, because I don't want to risk my jars breaking because they're in direct contact with the heat in the bottom of the canner. So anyway, we'll be back when this is up to a rolling boil. Alright, we're up to a rolling boil. Can't really see it too well because of all the steam, but trust me, it's a continuous rolling boil in there. So we've started our timer for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is up, and I've very carefully pulled the rack up out of the water with some pot holders. And I'm going to let this sit for about 5 or 10 minutes out here to kind of acclimate to the temperature, because that was really, when I pulled the lid off, rolling pretty good. I made a very bad mistake in that I didn't put any extra jars in there to keep the other jars from moving around. Thankfully they didn't tip over, but yeah, that was a oversight on my part, and I should have thought of that, but I got lucky this time and they were okay. So we'll be back with the finished product in just a little while, and we're already getting pings. That's a good sign. Well, here's our finished product. I ended up getting the 5-pint jars, plus I have this little bit of extra right here, which I just stuck in this 1/2-pint jar, and now that it's cooled down, I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator. I will give this away to somebody later on today for them to enjoy. I had one jar that didn't seal, this one back here. I probably overfilled it a little bit. I was having a little problem with that today for some reason. But anyway, I'm going to leave the recipe that I used, that I kind of derived from 3 different cookbooks. I'll leave it below in the description box, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them and I will answer you as soon as I possibly can. Just to let you know, I am not a professional canner. I guess this would probably be considered a bit of a rebel canning recipe because I did not follow any exact one. But I feel comfortable with my family eating it or my friends eating it because I did put the correct amount of acid for the quantity of green tomatoes and such, and they're a high acid fruit, vegetable, whichever you want to call them anyway. So, but I just wanted to let y'all know, I'm not claiming to be any kind of certified master food preservationist person. I would love to take that course. Yeah, I'm not sure it's even offered in my area though. But anyway, okay, there we go. Salsa Verde recipe will be below. Thank you for watching and happy canning.